Welcome to Your Next Chapter, where we feature conversations with leading audio creators and industry experts shaping the future of podcasting. I'm Jeremiah Tittle. People call me JT. I'm the CEO of Next Chapter Podcasts and your host for insightful conversations that delve into the creative processes, challenges, and innovations driving the world of audio storytelling. And our guest for this episode is Joe Cilio. He is the co-founder and CEO of Forever Dog, the critically acclaimed comedy podcast production network behind shows like The Best Show and my favorite podcast that's not on my network, and that would be Office Hours Live with Tim Heidecker. Well, you know, the fearsome threesome. I mean, I'm going to ask you probably too many questions about that show for the people who listen to this. They're going to note that I'm wearing a crazy fun shirt today because it's actually launch day of one of our new series, and that's the energy I'm bringing to the table to this conversation. Cool.
Love it.
But Joe, I got to know about Forever Dog, kind of the inception story, and kind of where you come from. I'm a huge comedy fan, so you create such great content. Tell me the beginning, if you wouldn't mind.
I was living in New York City after college. And even during college, and then right after college, me and my friend Alex and our friend Brett, who lived in Los Angeles, we had a theater troupe. Look, I was really into drama and theater, and we did plays in our group called Forever Dog. We did comedy shows and festivals like all over the country. And we did a ton of performing, sketch comedy, all of that stuff. At a certain point, we did so much theater, and we met so many wonderful people, and podcasting was sort of ascendant in 2015, 2016, when this moment was, that we said, as much as I love theater, and I'll spend my whole entire life working to get back to the theater, I was like, we can't do one more show for 20 people. Because I need to have a house one day, I think. We have to try something. Right. So I was like, let's try podcasting. Let's go put together a couple amazing friends around town and see what we can cook up. And that's exactly what we did. You know, we went around to our most talented friends in New York City and we tried to put together some podcasts. One of the very first podcasts that we put together, the first podcast, was I went to Bowen Yang, who's now on Saturday Night Live, and I asked him to start Las Culturistas, which he did, and he brought his friend Matt Rogers on, and we made that show for up until Bowen was on SNL for a year. So we made that show for a very, very long time. So anyway, we launched with that type of talent before that Bowen's whole generation of comedy people popped, and we had a ton of them on our network. Iowa Debris was on our network, Patty Harrison, from The Bear, Megan Stalter from Hacks, Patty Harrison from Tim Robinson's show.
She's phenomenal, by the way. Her show, I listened to an episode earlier today, and I found myself laughing out loud to myself. It went in directions I did not expect. It was phenomenal. So
we used to work with all of those people, and still do some of them. But we created that whole slate of that whole generation of New York comedy. And then we started doing it in Los Angeles, and we built up Forever Dog from there. So it started as a comedy podcast network. Now Forever Dog Productions has two networks. We have our Forever Dog Comedy Network, and we have Mom, which is our drag queen network. And we're continuing to grow and evolve doing the podcast thing. We're still kicking.
I love that, man. Yeah. 2016. What a year. I started in 2018, but you know, I was at TuneIn prior to that for 3 years, and that's when I really saw the light of podcasting. Your story is kind of interesting. I just share kind of the brief version for those who have listened to this story before. My apologies, but I had this coming out of college. Two other buddies, the three of us were like, we're going to go to LA. We're going to make it. One of the three of us was the best writer. I'd say the funniest of the three of us. And he ended up becoming an accountant and staying back home. And we're from Washington, D.C. area, the Maryland area. And so he's still an accountant, probably very happy, perfect lawn. And then our other friend, Josh Adam Myers, is a comedian who was out in L.A. for 11 plus years. I finally joined him after a career in radio and a little TV, and came out to LA working for TuneIn, the internet radio app. And I went to see his shows at the Improv at midnight, and then you got this Comedy Central TV show, and I said, hey, we should do a podcast. And that became the 500. We've been doing it for 6 years now. So I think it's kind of cool, kind of that parallel of like the three buddies who, the thing that you did mention about theater, though, I never did theater. However, my business partner in this company, Next Chapter, is a Shakespearean trained theater actor, less improv and more, kind of that, whatever the opposite of improv is, scripted.
Lines. Sure.
Right.
That's very cool.
And we do like Shakespeare plays now and have theater productions in podcast form. So it's so interesting, the parallels here. But we only do a little bit of comedy on our network. And I got to say, that's got to be so much fun. I mean, comedians are maybe a pain in the ass, but also like you get to laugh for a living a lot of times, don't you? Do you pinch yourself? I mean, how does that go down for you?
I love comedy. I always have. And it has been like the thrill of my life to be able to be a part of comedy and comedy podcasting. When we were coming up, Earwolf was like it. Like, I'm sure maybe it had 2 or 3 heydays, but this was like heyday, like 2015, 2016, as far as a comedy fan. And oh my God, all the comedy people were on whatever, Comedy Bang Bang or How Did This Get Made or whatever. And we were just like, this is incredible. We got to do this in New York. And that's what we kind of tried to do. So I guess, have I been pinching myself the entire time? Yes. But also now we've worked here for 10 years, but I do love it. You know what's so crazy? I first of all, we only work with people that we like, or we try to, and then sometimes we learn, well, maybe it's not the perfect relationship, but we really try to work with people we like. And all the people we work with now, I'm happy to say, not only are they incredibly talented, and I'm incredibly fortunate to work with them and learn from them, but also it is fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work.
I love it.
It's great. It is good. I do laugh a lot. People say that, like, oh, you work in comedy, you must laugh a lot. And you know what? We like to say at work sometimes, like, work stinks. It's work, ha, ha, ha. But you know what? We really do laugh a lot, and it doesn't stink. It's actually really great.
That makes me happy to hear. And I know I mentioned that, it might be hard to work with comedians in some senses because they are often so tortured and
they wish. Don't listen to them. Do not listen to them. That's the first thing you got to know. No, they're great. But every talent is different. Yeah. Every talent is talent. I work with a lot of drag queens. People are like, oh my God, the divas, they must drive you crazy. I said, they're nothing compared to the fucking comedians.
I love that. My business partner, Michael, I mentioned to you before in our first Shakespeare play, Macbeth, he actually cast 3 drag queens from RuPaul's Drag Race as the witches, the 3 witches. Mm-hmm. And at first I was like, what are you doing? And then when it actually came out, and I don't know if when I looked at their 1 million+ following each from just being so famous and popular and all that, that wasn't the reason, but that was like, oh, well, that helps. Got us into Entertainment Weekly and all this stuff. So, nice. But yeah, we've thought about going down that road as well. It's really, I'm super curious about the experience of, building something like this. One of the details that I was looking at your website, because I have recently become a paying Patreon subscriber of Office Hours Live, just to show you the level.
Love that.
Wow. It's not a fake thing. This is all real.
Thank you, Jay. That's real. Thank you.
But I'm just curious. So when did the studio come into the picture? Because since we launched in 2018 and then 2020 pandemic, and it was like, there's no point to being in a place. There's no point to having anything physical. But when did you build that studio, and how many shows use it? Is it just the garage only for Tim and the crew, or?
Yeah, no, we have a 4,000 square foot studio in Studio City, right across from Universal, and we have 2 or 3 beautiful recording spaces. One would remind you of a traditional podcast table, where it's people sit around the table and do podcasts. We can make that look like all sorts of different things, and then we have a giant theater room, like a big multi-purpose space that we fly in different sets all the time. We are making 15 shows a week, and I'd say 8 to 10 of them a week are recorded here in Los Angeles at the studio on video. We're all about video podcasting, that is why we got the studio. We too were sad. We had just moved into a new studio in Silver Lake when the pandemic hit, and we were so excited. We had been downtown at LA in like a Barton Fink-esque hole, a cube, just torturing guests for like 2 years. Like, can you please come to downtown and like come up the rickety elevator and go into the weird little room for us, please?
Send us a car. How do I navigate?
They hated it. But also, God bless, they came out. We love. But then we were like, all right, we're moving. If we moved to Silver Lake, we got this brand new place. We were so like, oh, we did it. We're in Silver Lake now. We're cool. Immediate pandemic. Like immediately, like that whole lease was just like stunk. We got out of it, did the pandemic, did everything on Zoom for whatever, 2 years or something.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, a year and a half. I don't know. And then right at the beginning of, maybe it was 22. This place became available, and it was so perfect and so amazing. And me and my partner, I remember speaking on the phone with my partner, Brett, actually, and he was just like, we got to do the video thing, and we got to get this space, and we got to like go hard, or else we got to go home.
Hell yeah, man.
And I was like, bet. So that's what we did.
Love it.
That's what we did.
That's a great word, bet. I know it's a social, but like literally that's something that Michael and I talk about too, is we got to take chances. Like invest like a little bit in some new tech that's interesting, more on the content side. It's more exciting. Like you have a future talent that you really believe in. Clearly, you caught so many people on the way up, and it is about making bets. I don't think, without taking some chances, I don't think there's like a 401k version of entrepreneurship in entertainment that really,
I guess what we could do is we could like acquire media with capital at like a gigantic pace and scale. Yeah. And like, I guess you could like play that game, but that's not the game that we play. And the game that we play is the game that is full of risk. Yeah. Creation. Yeah. Producing.
Some questions about developing shows. And then I'm going to totally fanboy out on Office Hours Live as we wrap up, but because we like to keep these things tight. But I also want people to get something out of this outside of just my gratuitous, selfish questions. So I'm just curious, what comes first for you? And I know maybe it's a case by case, but the talent or the show concept? Like, how often is talent walking in the door with a concept versus you having to like dream it up together?
It's talent every time.
Really?
Talent every time. The concept, don't worry about the concept. I'll worry about the concept, or we'll worry about the concept together. If the talent isn't good, literally good at hosting the show, and good in the sense of has a fan base, it's very difficult to create a show that's sustainable or monetizable, in my opinion. And as the media industry continues to get atomized and fractionalized and all of those things, and as legacy, blah, 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 creator economy, blah, 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 betting on those talent, those people, those influencers, those brands, unfortunately, those people, and saying, I want that person, I want their audience. And then I'll look at the market. I'll see what distribution options that we have. And then we together will create a piece of content that's going to actually work in whatever new media ecosystem we decide to put your show in. But it's got to be talent. Yeah. The concept, I hate everybody, but that's not true at all. People always come to podcasting with like a very first thought podcasting concept. Oh, it's my podcast. Maybe me and my friend will read a blank every single week. And it's like, hey, famous person I'm talking to. People, you need to do the thing that you're famous for on the podcast. That's how it's going to be big. Now is not the time to talk to your brother about growing up. This is my job. This is my life. I don't care about what you and your best friend's favorite, paperback books from the 80s. We need to put on a show. So,
like office ladies, like the Scrubs guys. Like,
well, that hits. That's good.
It does.
That makes perfect sense,
But they are doing the thing, I think, that you're saying, if I'm hearing you correctly, which is like, don't shy away from what you're famous for. Like,
don't shy away from what you're famous for. If somebody wants you, if you're a funny person, don't do a mental health podcast.
There you go.
If you're a funny person, just maybe you could interview other famous funny people, or we could think of something. Or really, it's about where are we putting the content? Because something that's going to succeed on YouTube or on TikTok is different than what's going to succeed on RSS. How are we marketing it? Who are we marketing it to? Who are we connecting it to? Is it audio first program, video first program, etc.? These are some of the considerations we take in development, but it all starts with the talent. Like, I have a show right now with Raven Simone called Tea Time. The show's going very well, and it's going to continue to grow. But it's a show that requires some patience, because all shows require a little bit of patience to grow and develop. But I'm not losing my fucking hair over it. I got Raven Simone in the building. That's good. That's a problem I can solve. And the numbers are going up, 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 up. And soon we're going to make plenty of money, and so will she. And it's going to be amazing, because that's good talent that I believe in, that is bankable, that we can do something with.
I love that. I'm going to double click on one other company, another show, because we're talking about this concept. One of my favorite comedians is David Cross. I was really happy when he jumped into the podcast game with HeadGum, and he, for the first, I don't know how many episodes, and I've listened to pretty much all of them, he would talk about how the network or HeadGum wanted him to have a concept for the show. And so Since His Working Overtime was birthed from that, but he like kind of complained about it because he was like, why do I have to have a concept? I'm David Cross, which I totally agree with. And I'm not mad at HeadGum either, because you need to have a show name. Maybe you call it the David Cross Show. I don't know. But it was just one of these interesting kind of pulling back the curtain. He didn't hide the fact that he was like, I don't give a shit about the name of my show. It has almost nothing to do with this riffing improv show we do every week.
Well, it sounds like HeadGum played it perfectly. They got the talent in, and then they crafted a little something for him to do, to give it an edge or an angle or some flair or some directionality, which I totally respect. I'm all for all of those things. I would never suggest that you don't have a concept for your show. I just want to stress that the important, you could have the greatest concept in the world. That talent has to be good at performing and driving traffic.
Let me ask you, because you talked about, and this at this point, I think I'm asking this every single week, and kudos to you for diving in headfirst into video so early, because now I'm just getting a little taste of it. The last few video series that we have released and launched and putting some support behind, I'm like super excited about YouTube and very curious, big 3 question marks above my head about Spotify and what they're doing. So where do you weigh in right now, maybe between these two juggernauts going after each other in the video space? Like, are you playing around with the Spotify opportunity? Where are you at with it?
We are definitely going to play around with Spotify opportunity. We, like everybody else, no shade to our friends at Spotify, just taking it sort of week by week, changes, growth, confusions, no big deal, whatever. That being said, we haven't jumped into the video thing on Spotify. In fact, we sort of pulled back. We're sort of waiting to make sure everything is, I don't know, just to understand what is going to work a little bit more. Also, speaking with Spotify to sort of like leverage, I don't know, do we have any sort of leverage in this? Like, how bad do they need it? What kind of money can we get for our video content? I haven't had those conversations with them. I'm excited to. I really believe in that Spotify is a company that's going to like sustain and grow and figure it out. And I know there's been speed bumps, but Forever Dog is 100% going to have our podcast, all video only, not even audio anymore, on Spotify at some point this year, whether it's in 2 months or 6 months. I don't know, but I'm all in on Spotify. Yes, they're a gigantic tech company that drives us all crazy and dictates terms a lot, but that's life, and that's okay. And I'm excited to put my content on Spotify. I know it's a mess. I know there's like a new word for video streams.
Yes.
Whatever. We're going to do it. I'm all in on video. Consumers, every app is starting to look like YouTube. Everybody kind of wants that right now.
Right.
Netflix, Spotify, everybody sort of is
so
working.
right.
Patreon, everyone's working on becoming YouTube. Spotify's got a bunch of, what are we going to do? Not engage with Spotify? It's 50% of the market. Like, God love them. Thank you, Spotify. Let's talk about what are we going to do with all this great video stuff I have. I love YouTube because it's people know what to do with YouTube.
Right.
Like we had to learn, but like there's people out there that have been working on YouTube for 10 years and understand what works on that platform and how to grow it. There's like a path to success on YouTube, and there's going to be a path to success on Spotify. It's just so new. I don't really know how to handle it yet, but I'm excited to figure it out. And of course we're going to be there. I'm not crazy.
Yeah. I talked to Brian Barletta a little bit about it. And we also have like someone internally now that's really like putting together like a whole plan around how we're going to address like video and yeah, like you said, YouTube's a lot more straightforward. I remember there was a moment for me, I was in a cab, I can't remember what city, or a Uber, and the driver had a podcast on the video on his phone, like just hanging out on the dashboard. And I think that was like, this was years ago, but it was like the first time I was like, oh, podcasts on YouTube. But like, I don't know. It was just kind of my aha moment where I just thought to myself, okay, I guess people are doing that. And now I use YouTube for podcast consumption like more than I ever have. Yeah. It's very straightforward. You don't have to look at it. Yeah. You can.
It's great. There's community engagement features. There's actual analytics on the back end.
Good
from
analytics.
The power of Google. Like it's better than it's better than TV. Mm-hmm. We need to embrace YouTube. We need them to do DI into our shows, which was announced or written about, this week in Semaphore. That would be huge for us. And we need as podcasts to continue to embrace video, because I don't want podcasts to go away and all the money just go to branded influencers. Like that's nonsense. Like podcasts are branded influencers, and they're the branded influencers that actually have connective tissue to real people and real fans. It's so valuable, podcasting. It's why the CPMs are so high. And now we're just going to do it on video, and we can't just be like, no video. It's different. It's too complicated. It's like, it's not complicated. It's CPMs, it's impressions, it's television, and we're going to bundle these and we're going to sell them, and everything is going to be okay.
Yeah.
It has to be. I don't want podcasting. Podcasting's great. Like, I love podcasting. I'm not trying to just, people are like, oh, you don't like podcasts, you want to do videos? It's like, no, I specifically am trying to make great podcasts, but it's just silly for me to not want to engage YouTube audiences. Like, I'm interested in fans watching our shows, and I'm not going to thumb my nose at opportunities to develop new fan bases.
There's a lot there to unpack. I mean, one piece is that you're taking video seriously. I mean, I much prefer to watch Office Hours live than I do listen to it. And
this isn't me patting my own back. We acquired the show. Isn't that show so beautiful to look at?
It's so fantastic.
It's a total pleasurable experience audibly, and it's a beautiful experience visually. I love the way it looks. I love it so much that not only did we get to work with Tim and start producing the show at Forever Dog, I hired some of his team members that built that incredible space for him.
Cool. In
his garage, because I was like, this kind of live streaming, this is like better than when you're watching ESPN. Like the way that Wes and Carson and Tim's whole entire team, and now the Forever Dog team, made that show look so beautiful, sound so beautiful. It's not easy. That show is complicated from a tech build standpoint. And it's just a beautiful piece of live streaming, and it makes me really proud. Some of our shows, The Best Show, Very Delta, Office Hours, Tea Time, like their YouTube product, I'd put it up against any talk show on television. It's gorgeous.
Well, another Stephen Colbert was just on David
yes.
Cross's show. And he was talking about how he has more YouTube views on his content, but that's true for all late night shows, right? I mean,
Yes.
I don't know if it was James Corden first with like the carpool karaoke or whatever, or there was just a couple few, I think, viral moments that maybe were indicators of that kind of transition. But now it's like, I mean, I know there's like a huge production behind these late night television shows, but you're talking about, millions of views
Mm-hmm.
versus, the linear thinking and all that is just, I mean, it's not going to go away. Just like radio won't go away.
I love YouTube, but it's a challenge. Like, we optimize our YouTube content. It's not one-to-one distribution because what YouTube values is just different than what an RSS feed sort of, values. But that's okay. Content's going to look different in all different kinds of ways, all different kinds of shows cut up in all different this and that's. And I just want to be aware enough to be able to put best in platform like content of all of our shows across social, YouTube, audio, and then I want to bundle those bad boys, and then I want to sell them to brands as a big, beautiful new media package, which we're all this close to doing. It's called branded influencer marketing, and like we have to sort of like break this. I'm just like, YouTube opens us up to like putting bottles of product on the desk. It's like a whole new advertising opportunity. I don't want to. I want that because podcasting advertising works because people love our hosts.
100%.
Because podcasts are the best medium for connecting, and that connecting is the only valuable thing anymore. The ability to connect authentically with somebody.
It's so true. I know we're in this attention economy. When we first started the company, we were reviewing podcasts. I started a little podcast that is long gone by now. But one of the things we talked about was this episode of Sam Harris's podcast talking about the attention economy. And, we're full blown. That's where we live now. And every second has a monetary value. And,
Yes.
and what are you going to give your attention to? I mean, that's and you said it very well in terms of podcasting being the opportunity for connection that we don't find in the digital world, don't find in maybe real life as much as we used to. So it's just that authenticity that you can't really find anywhere else. It's a really special place. I'm so glad I'm into it, and it took the election for my dad to finally say, "Oh, okay, that's good. Jeremiah got into podcasting," because he was like, "You're throwing your career away." And then he finally believed after this election cycle where podcasting was like a game changer. It was another zeitgeist moment post Serial. Or
it's the news. It's the media.
Yeah.
How about that? It's where people are, real people, that you can actually connect to. And like, think about what YouTube can provide to brands more than television, even like the data, the specificity with which you can target. And I mean, it's just like, look, I'm just sorry to be a broken record. Just like, I want podcasting, all this buzz, podcasting is going to break into YouTube and be I want that for podcasting. I really do. I don't want podcasting to be little brother anymore. It's like, let's go.
I'm with you on this. We are on the same team, same page here.
Let's go.
My producer Nick actually wrote a question, which I'm a little less familiar with, but before we wrap up, was going to ask you, Netflix. Any take on what they've talked about entering into podcasting? I don't know if you have any intel or insight or thoughts about it, whether they're acquiring shows or launching their own.
I do. Netflix is just like every other streamer, legacy media company, content provider, platform, is looking for content that people are going to want to watch. And where are they turning to? They're turning to the creator economy, aka YouTube people, to bring some eyeballs, to turn Netflix into YouTube. So, not really, but like kind of. So they licensed Miss Rachel, which is a popular it's like Michael Jackson for people under 5. Like, my son knows who Miss Rachel is, okay? Netflix bought the Miss Rachel show for a very, very high price point, and they're not developing a glossy HBO Sesame Street style Miss Rachel product. They are paying for the rights to license her YouTube show on the Netflix platform. I mean, come on. Like, that's why I want deep, rich, beautiful catalogs of evergreen podcasts with popular talent, because they're going to get licensed on streamers, because YouTube is TV now. And everything on the TV is the same to everybody. So the Netflix button and the YouTube button, it doesn't matter. You can watch Miss Rachel on both, and soon you'll be able to watch our podcast on both. Netflix has an $18 billion content budget for this year. $18 billion. They already did the Miss Rachel thing. They did the Kill Tony live thing. Like, right. They're obviously very interested in the podcast space and the YouTube space. Good. Great. I want somebody to license my content. And I also love that. What does, like, Universal and Sony and Netflix and Apple Plus even, like, they need to become YouTube. And it's so nice. Podcasts, we're right here. We're already a big part of YouTube. Like, right. That's a beautiful, beautiful place to be. I'm very pro podcasting, and I'm very pro the medium. You know, The View and late night, like, that's the most obvious thing. That's just podcasts on YouTube now. Talk shows. We'll start there. Oh, what about our true crimes? What about our narrative podcasts? Well, those will have their ancillary, like, companions to television and YouTube extensions as well. And we're going to learn how to control costs. Things aren't going to cost the same anymore. Like, everything is going to change in the next 5 years. And I just want everyone to be very open to riding the wave. And, like, Spotify is going to suck shit sometimes, whatever. Just wait 3 months. They'll figure it out. Like, just, like, go with the flow, keep our eyes open, and just continue to evolve with the medium, because I don't want podcasting to be like some little footnote. It's not a footnote. It's very important.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. No, you said it very well. And this has been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed talking to you. I asked this question of all our guests, and it's about you and Forever Dog. What's your next chapter?
Big, beautiful, new media studio.
Love it.
Next generation Hollywood entertainment studio.
Boom.
Why not? What is it? 10 a.m. Just like big thoughts.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like cup of coffee. Big thoughts. Let's go. Exactly.
It's so great to meet you, Joe. I really look forward to hopefully grabbing a coffee or a beer in Chicago. I mean, it's got to be a beer if we're in Chicago, but
a beer and a hot dog.
There you go.
Cool.
And just to wrap it up here for the listeners, thank you for listening to this episode of Your Next Chapter. I'm your host, JT. Our executive producer is Nick Kastner. This is edited by Justin Cortese, and we drop episodes bi-weekly. Please follow the show, and thanks for listening.